It all started really with my dad. My dad never owned a car. Story goes, he got in a fight with his dad over wrecking the family car, and his father ripped up the license. He never went back to the DMV and got another one. So as I was growing up, anywhere I went with him was via bicycle. He taught me all the basics, tuning up a bike, changing tires, working on gears. And as I got older, I got into BMXing when I was young. When I got into college,
I took a trip to Costa Rica, and everybody gets around on bicycles down there. And I saw a young man riding on his bike, and it kind of just had that eureka moment, like, you know, bikes would be fun, something I can do on my own schedule, have a little fun with. And when I came home, I bought that 1970 Ford Econoline. And I'd buy and sell bikes, Craigslist, garage sales, fix them up, find people that would want them, and I'd sell them to them, or I'd come pick up your bike and bring it back to our house. Mostly Western Flyers on the older ones, some older Schwinn's too, some old European bikes, old Japanese bikes, you name it. We've probably worked on a few of them.
I bought a 1977 Schwinn Super Sport road bike, and that was really the bike that kind of started the business. And I picked it up off of Craigslist. I had a van at the time. I went and picked it up, brought it back to my house, tuned it up. A few years later, I ended up selling that bike, but I was doing that throughout college, buying and selling bikes out of my van. I was going up to kids on campus that had a flat tire and giving them my card, say, hey, I can fix your bike for you. There's a lot of bike racks at Southeastern's campus, and there's a lot of flat tires sitting there. So, I mean, you see your customers right there. You just put a little card, tape it to their bike, and not everyone, but say 1 out of every 10 would call you up and be like, hey man, yeah, you can fix my bike. I'm like, yeah, just leave it right there, and I'll come by and fix it. So that was kind of snowballing while I was in college. Had a garage. Me and my roommate, Lightning Bob, we were just sitting in the garage and tinkering on bikes. And we started selling some more and more. I was about to graduate, and I knew I wanted to get into some type of business of my own.
I was walking the Trace, and there happened to be this old house from the early 1900s that was right on the Trace, and I knew that was the spot.
Owned by Miss Elizabeth Williams, who I later talked to, and she's been my landlady now for 7 years, and that's really how I got to start being on the Trace and renting bicycles, and without a doubt, renting bicycles is what kept us in business, rentals and repairs. When I first started the rental business, I probably had 5 rental bikes. Now we have well over 50 bikes that are pretty much dedicated to rental. The way the rentals work, they're the used bikes that are for sale and for rent. So there's a lot of turnover in the rental fleet now. But we have a few bikes that are just strictly for rent, and we almost always have at least probably 60 to 75 bikes that we can rent out at one time.
Now that we've been in the business for a while, we got a lot of suppliers, so a lot of new bikes, a lot of new goods and products, but still the bread and butter of the business is definitely the rentals and the repairs.
So when we were starting off the business, it was really blood, sweat, and tears. It was quite a grind. We were dumpster diving, we were buying and selling on Craigslist, garage sales, whatever we could find. And we pretty much would take scrap bikes and Frankenstein them together. For the first few years, the rental fleet was really rough. There's a lot of old vintage Murrays, I remember, that were just painted with like spray paint and this kind of tacky. We opened up the Covington shop for the first 4 to 5 years, strictly used bikes. The first year was almost strictly just vintage bicycles. After a while, a lot of people were complaining that the bikes were just too heavy and too bulky, so we started getting some newer bikes. And then about 4.5 to the 5-year mark, I went to the big Vegas bike convention called Interbike. And at that point, I met a few suppliers and distributors, worked out a few contracts. That's where we got the big Fuji contract. And we've been selling their bikes now for going on 3 years. Definitely do really well with their hybrid lines and their cruiser lines. I think this year, sales have doubled, mainly because of new bikes. We're somewhere around like the $100,000 mark in sales, where before that, I mean, maybe 35 to 40,000. So we've definitely grown a lot as far as sales, and it keeps growing. We got a new supplier with Cyclone Bicycle Supply, so we sell a lot of new accessories, seats, tires, tubes, things like that. where we used to always go to Walmart or something and buy their tires and come back and put them on. So that's definitely helped the profit margin as well. We get a lot of good deals through our suppliers, and we're happy to have them. We've got Tuesday Cycles, SE bikes. We are officially a distributor for Kestrel and Chanelli, which are the higher end racing bikes. We don't sell a whole lot of those. We mainly cater to the family bicyclist that's looking just for leisurely rides.
Brooks's Bicycle Co-op was opened in August of 2017, and it was really built off of Plan B Bicycles in New Orleans, which was a co-op that we had in New Orleans that didn't last. And basically the co-op aspect is you can be a member of the co-op, or you can use the co-op as a one-time use. You're welcome to use all the tools, all the chains, all the lubricants, and basically do all the maintenance on your own bike. We always have a mechanic on duty that's more than happy to help you and kind of guide you into working on your own bicycle. At Brooks's Bike Co-op of Mandeville, we buy, sell, trade, rent, repair, customized bicycles of all kinds. We also rent paddle boards and kayaks. We work very closely with the bicycle social rides around here. Every Thursday we have the Bon Jeudi ride, which means Happy Thursday here in Mandeville. It's a fun group to come ride with. They like to go to restaurants and have a little dinner, then they'll usually do a little bar hopping. We're also the main sponsor for the Covington Bicycle Club, which does a bi-monthly ride, usually the first and third Fridays of every month. It's a fun group. It's more of a beer drinking group with a bicycling problem, we like to say. Definitely more for the single people who want to go out and have a little fun and drink a few beers, where Bon Jeudi is usually more of a couples ride. We also work closely with the Covington Police Department. We have a summer camp program where we teach the kids bicycle maintenance, and at the end of the class they get to take the bikes for a ride and have a little fun. We also have a social program called Brooks Bikes for Kids. Every Christmas we take donations from the community, and we have several people in the shop that come help us fix up these kids' bikes, and we donate them usually to a different group every year. Last year we did Pineview Middle School. Year before that we did the Foster's families, and whatever group really needs help that year, we're happy to help them out with some good refurbished kids' bikes. Speaking of kids' bikes, we almost always have a $5 bike sale at the Bicycle Co-op. Mainly kids' bikes that have been gone through and fixed up a little bit. Just something so the community can come here and just buy a bike for a kid and not be out of the pocket 50, 60 bucks. So it's something we always like to have, the $5 bike sale.
At every Brooks Bike Shop location, we have our famous bicycle donation station. Any bikes you're looking to get rid of, no matter what condition, feel free to come drop them off. If we can't fix them, we'll use them for parts. If we can't use them for parts, we'll use them for art. So our Covington location is located right at the very beginning of the St. Tammany Trace, home to the Covington Brew House and the world's tallest statue of Ronald Reagan at our trailhead. It's a quick 2-mile jaunt to the Abita Brewery. Probably one of the more popular breweries to come check out on the Trace. Town of Abita Springs itself is about 3.5 miles, home to the Abita Mystery House, which is where we try to send most of our customers. Also has some great places to eat. You got the Abita Springs Cafe, you got the Abita Brew Pub, and Mama D's Pizza. The next trailhead past Abita is Coop Drive, which is our parish municipality. It's home to a great playground called the Kids Connection. It's a very interactive playground that's a lot of fun, and it's suitable for kids with disabilities. Chafuncta Brewery is located just north of Coop Drive, which I believe they have the best beer of all the breweries on the Trace. Past Coop Drive, you got the Mandeville Trailhead at 12.5 miles. Located there is Old Rail Brew Pub, which is also another great brewery. Just 4 blocks south of the trailhead on 128 Girard Street is our Mandeville Co-op location. You can drop the bikes off there for a one-way ride. Just south of that is the Lakeshore Drive, which is also another great little bike trail you can do. It's one of the prettiest neighborhoods in the state of Louisiana, definitely rivals uptown New Orleans. Just past Mandeville, you got Fontainebleau State Park at about 15 miles. It's got a great little beach area. It's got some nice hiking trails. Just past that, the next trailhead you got is Bayou Lacombe, just over 20 miles. It's home to a really cool drawbridge. Usually during the summer months, if you hang out at the bridge, you can see a few alligators. Past Bayou Lacombe, you got the Slidell Trailhead, just under 30 miles.
Brooks's Bike Shop has plans to grow. We are looking to start a Slidell location at the very end of the Trace. The main goal is you'll be able to ride from one location to the other and just do one-way rides instead of have it ride all the way and then all the way back.
So hopefully we'll be there at the end of the year. We're looking somewhere in Old Town where the trace is supposed to eventually end. Doesn't quite get there yet, but we're hoping it does in the future. And we definitely want to be there at the end of the trace.
273-658. Come on, baby, don't you hesitate. Pick up the phone, give Brooks Bike Shop a call anytime.